Hello there. The London Mayor Sadiq Khan is so sure he is always correct that he feels it's his right to throw abuse at those who disagree with him. Well, the London Mayor knows how to win friends and influence people, doesn't he? Not. Sadiq Khan was confronted by those opposing his ultra-low emission zone expansion scheme in a People's Question Time session in Ealing last night. And his response to those arguing against his scheme was to call some of them fascists and science deniers, when what they were mostly worried about is the hit to their pockets the extra £12.50 ULEZ daily charge to use their lawfully purchased vehicles in it will cause. But Khan waded in with a heavy hand and branded them as either being fascists and science deniers themselves or working alongside fascists and science deniers. And the more he doubled down on his claims during the heated debate, the louder the jeers got from the throng. Because his scheme will hit the less well-off who can't afford a newer vehicle, so probably can't afford the ULEZ charge either. But as far as I can see, Khan does not give one hoot about them. Well, he can't do if he's calling them names, can he? And I wonder how many of those voters will give a hoot about him and his ULEZ expansion and 40 cities programme when it comes to the next mayoral elections. But Londoners, beware. I would surmise that all the mayoral candidates from the major parties next time round will also be as wedded to the ULEZ and the 40 cities programme as Khan is. All the major parties are now cut from the same cloth and support the same unelected supranational bodies like the WEF. Now, the news of the authoritarian fever that recently gripped the government is there for all to see when you look at the Telegraph lockdown files. An authoritarian fever that even the Labour opposition was more than happy to help indulge in. But it seems that Khan has also been seized of this fever, but has no intention of relinquishing it. And the only way to eradicate the spread of this authoritarian fever is to reject all of those involved, from the Tories to Labour to Khan to the SNP and to Drakeford's Labour in Wales. Eject them all from the halls of power via the ballot box at the first opportunity. This stinks a bit, doesn't it? Now, if a civil servant had just conducted a damning report into Labour and then been headhunted to work for Tory Central Office, there'd be screeches of unfair play from Labour. In fact, from the whole of the political left, including the press. It would be roundly condemned. But the writer of the Partygate report that has got Boris Johnson in hot water, Sue Gray, has been named as Keir Starmer's new Chief of Staff. Now, whatever you think about Boris Johnson, surely you can see that this stinks. This is the political system that we support every time we vote for the establishment big parties. So they want to go there again. We now have the Argentine government ripping up the cooperation pact they have with the UK and demanding that we start talks with them on the sovereignty of the Falkland Islands. At the recent G20 talks in New Delhi, Argentina's Foreign Minister Santiago Cafiero delivered a note to the UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly stating that his government was abandoning the cooperation pact, reports the Mail. Now, in true Argentine form, they kicked off the Falklands issue whenever their economy is tanking, so as to deflect the internal national attention away from government failures. And lo and behold, it's no different this time. Their economy is shrinking and inflation is running at near 100%. Here's what the Buenos Aires Times says. Annual inflation near 99% is wiping out wage growth for millions of Argentines, while a severe drought is wilting the country's soy crop that's crucial for exports, tax revenue and economic growth. No wonder their government is so keen to deflect attention. And they want to inflict this on the people of the Falklands, no doubt. Well, what a shambles. While we have MI5 apologising for missed chances to stop an act of terrorism, we have the Border Force being told not to bother doing checks on travellers. You just could not make this up. We now have the head of MI5, Ken McCallum, apologising profusely for the missed opportunities to stop the Manchester Arena attack, and at the same time we hear of instructions being given to Border Force staff to cease searching incomers for weapons and drugs being brought into the country in case it upsets people by causing them to queue up a bit. So what is this? Border Force being all nice and cuddly, but so effectively handing the problem to our security forces. Let MI5 and the like take the strain, and if it all goes wrong, they can take the blame too. Is that how this is going to work into the future? That last horrible event came about partly because the authorities did not want to appear racist. The next one will probably partly come about because the authorities don't want to upset visitors and make them wait a bit. Yes, there were other failings by MI5, but how many of those are due to an overload of work because the UK will not monitor its borders properly for fear of being labelled an ist or being engaged in an ism? When you don't look after your external borders properly, you have to start erecting internal borders, like those you see around Westminster and Downing Street and all those concrete bollards all over the place. And like every public event now has to have. And the laxer our borders get, the tighter our internal borders around the great and good will have to get. Because as the plight of the ordinary Brit gets worse as a result of all this, those internal protections will be more about stopping the UK plebs and their pitchforks getting at them than anything else. Richard.
So it's all coming out now via these pesky leaked WhatsApp messages. That's right, Matt Hancock and Boris Johnson, they lied to us. They lied to us during a time when we should have been told nothing but the truth. During the health emergency, and people have died because of it. Does it come as any surprise that they lied? To some of us it doesn't. I'm sorry, but is there anyone left who actually believes anything our elected representatives and the media tells us? The days of left versus right having any relevance in our lives is long gone. No one in their right mind trusts our politicians anymore, and with good reason. Society has changed, and everyone who complied with the rules and mandates are too frightened to talk about what happened, or rather embarrassed to talk about what happened. What we have left are those that transitioned. No, not like that. Transitioned to understanding that the whole system is there to corral and control the masses into obedience. And those that are still dribbling in the corner go on about how important it is to preserve our way of life via the existing political and monarchical system. Monarchical, I should say. Hierarchical? Monarchical? I don't know. Sorry, but if you think that the Labour Party or the Tory Party or any other establishment party is the answer, I am afraid to say your portion of grey matter between the ears is at the unfortunate levels last measured in a certain lady whose surname begins with the number Abbott. So, stop asking what we can do to make things better. You can't. Let's stop trying to make Babylon great again. The whole system is rotten from top to bottom, as it always has been. It's just that we've been fooled rather better in the past. But now we have, well, knowledge abounds, let's say that. Look, we even have a constitutional monarch who can't help himself and get involved with politics. He just can't help himself. And there's a good reason for that. And I'm not going to reveal too much about our little horn king or the symbolism of his heraldic achievements. No, just carry on, Your Majesty. You do what you have to. Let's face it, you're pretty unstoppable. Well, for now. Anyway, enough cryptic eschatological spillage. So do any of you lot still hold out any hope that we can sort this country out via the ballot box? Let us know in the comment section below.